Foden versus Haaland in the Champions League. Pirlo out at Juve, Zidane in. Atletico eye a new striker, a transfer roundup, plus this week's great debate, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host, Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. Last night, and of course, all eyes were on the Champions League, and one of the most anticipated moments was Erling Haaland stepping onto the pitch at the Etihad Stadium. Now, of course, Manchester City have their own talented young player in Phil Foden, and could it be that in the battle of the youngsters, it was actually Phil Foden who came out on top for now? We all know that Haaland is one of, if not the biggest names in football at the moment, and whilst we didn't see him scoring goals, we did see flashes of his brilliant talent, especially when he had the first chance of the game and was involved in Marco Reus's goal for Dortmund. But it was Phil Foden who was arguably the star of the show, as he made the most decisive contribution in the game when he scored the 90th minute winning goal for City, and he just proved exactly why he is one of the most exciting young talents in English football, if not European football. Both Haaland and Foden seem to have football wisdom beyond their years, but we really did see Foden taking his opportunities, and whilst he did have a few chances, he eventually came good in the 90th minute, like I say, and he really was so vital for Manchester City, as they were really dominant for good stretches of the game. However, taking nothing away from Haaland, he was still brilliant as always, and whilst he didn't get as many opportunities to display his talent compared to what we're used to seeing, when he did, my goodness, he was brilliant. His pace, his vision, his imposing physicality was completely sublime, especially up against a defender like Ruben Dias, who still managed to put in a good shift against the player. But rest assured, I am certain that we will be seeing a lot more of Haaland in the second leg of this competition, as at the end of the day, Haaland and Dortmund are 100% still in the race for a spot in the semi-final. Meanwhile, it was a tough night for Liverpool as they lost 3-1 against Real Madrid. Now, of course, the main talking point was the fact that Real Madrid were without their centre-back pairings of Sergio Ramos and Rafael Varane, but speaking of defence, it was actually Liverpool's defence that were absolutely shocking. The centre-back pairing of Nat Phillips and Ozan Kabak just made it really obvious that they are definitely not Liverpool's first choice centre-back pairing, and then it got even worse when you look at Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who were constantly out of position. They also looked very weak, and they did make a few mistakes. Of course, Alexander-Arnold's mistake that ended up in a goal for Real Madrid. It is really interesting to see what has happened with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, everybody was in absolute uproar about Gareth Southgate and the fact that he didn't include him in his England squad, but are people now maybe looking at Alexander-Arnold and thinking, did Gareth Southgate have a point? I wouldn't go that far, but obviously he did not have a good game. It seemed like he had a really good game against Arsenal, and things just haven't really seemed to be consistent, and he really did show his weaknesses in the game. Of course, credit to Mo Salah, who did manage to scrape a goal back for Liverpool, which gave them a little bit of a fighting chance, and when they came out in the second half, they did have a really good spell of football, but it's safe to say that Real Madrid absolutely outclassed them and really did prove that they were the better side on the night. What this means is that Real Madrid are sitting very comfortably going into the next leg of the competition, and the thing is, for Liverpool, there is still a little bit of hope as you look at 2019 when they were 3-0 down to Barcelona and they managed to turn it around. But looking at this Liverpool team at the moment, if they really do want to get to the next stage of the competition, they're going to have to pull something massive out of the bag. Next up and over to Italy, and it is no secret that Andrea Pirlo has had a little bit of a nightmare as Juventus manager. Let's look at it. I mean, they're out of the Champions League. They're not going to be winning the Serie A title this season. They'll be lucky if they actually get a Champions League spot, looking at their form recently. And could it be time for Pirlo to be departing? According to reports from La Repubblica, the current assistant manager, Igor Tudor, is expected to be appointed as the interim coach for the rest of the season. But there are also some other names in the mix, and of course, Zinedine Zidane is one of them. He is a really good example of a player that has become a manager and had so much success with Real Madrid, and obviously he did play with Juventus. He has such a special place in the fans' hearts, I'm sure, and he was actually asked about the position, and he said that for now he's happy at Real Madrid, but who knows in the future. So could we see Zidane heading to Italy? I'm not too sure. I think we will have to wait and see how things go with Real Madrid, but it could be an option. On the other hand, Max Allegri's return is another valid possibility, especially after his meeting with Andrea Agnelli, the Juventus president, during the weekend. Simone Inzaghi, who is Lazio's manager, of course, is another name on the list who is apparently well liked by the club's hierarchy. The second name is Atalanta's Gianpiero Gasperini, and the other name is former Inter and Roma manager Luciano Spalletti. With all of these names in in the mix with Juventus and Juventus' form recently. It's not looking good for Pirlo, but what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. Would you like to see Pirlo stay, Juve fans, or would you like to see a new name come in as manager? And finally, over to Spain, and whilst Atletico Madrid are in such a tight battle to take home that La Liga trophy, they're already looking at next season and who they should be signing, and they have got their sights set on Gerard Moreno. According to Marca, the 28-year-old Villarreal player is at the top of Atletico Madrid's priority list. Of course, looking at who they've got already, there is Luis Suarez. He has been absolutely phenomenal for the side. There is no doubting that. However, he does have a clause in his contract, which means that he could actually leave after his first year at the club. Then there is Dembele, who is on loan at Atletico Madrid, and there is an option of purchasing him for around 33.5 million euros. However, it does seem like Dembele will be heading back to Lyon. And then there is Alvaro Morata. He is at Juventus, of course, and it doesn't seem like there have been any indications that he is looking to move back to Atletico Madrid, and maybe he will want to stay at Juventus full time. Although Moreno is turning 29 very soon, you cannot deny that he is such a talent in La Liga, and he has emerged as one of the most exciting strikers. He already has over 20 goals across all competitions this season, and the fact that he's already a La Liga player, as I've mentioned before with other transfers, this just means that the transition to Atletico Madrid could be so much easier. However, the one thing that stands in Atletico Madrid's way, the Villarreal president, who has come out saying that there is a clause for Moreno which is about 100 million euros, and he is not ready to budge on that number whatsoever. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Moreno could be making the move to Atletico? And now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Ronald Koeman has allegedly come out stating that he wants Ousmane Dembele to stay at Barcelona. Craig Dawson will be signing a permanent deal with West Ham this summer. Arsenal are allegedly preparing to make a firm offer for Inter Milan's Achraf Hakimi as they look to potentially replace Hector Bellerin. And Rangers have announced that James Tavernier will be signing a 2-year extension on his contract at the club. And last but by no means least, we have the great debate. This is where the OneFootball Newsroom pose a question to you guys in the comment section below, and you can find their answers and my own in the article on the OneFootball app. But the question that they are asking today: what controversial decision would you make if you were picking the England squad for this summer? Now, this is a tough one. Maybe it's not the most controversial, but for me, Jesse Lingard should not be going to the Euros. Don't get me wrong, his form at the moment for West Ham has been absolutely phenomenal. He's looking really, really sharp, but this doesn't mean that he should be in the England squad. Now, of course, people can argue that he was in the 2018 World Cup. He's played with a lot of players that are in the current England squad, but I do not think that this is a reason to take him to the Euros. At the end of the day, who are you going to switch out for him? Somebody like Mason Mount? Somebody like Jack Grealish? No way, I cannot see this happening. And I think it would be a real shame for a player that has maybe been working hard over the last season or two to really, really improve and take their ability to that next standard. For a player like that to be dropped out for somebody like Lingard, who at the end of the day has only really been performing since January, I don't really think that would be fair. So yeah, not too much hate on Lingard, but I just do not think that he should be going to the Euros. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below and what controversial decision you would make. So that's everything for today's OneFootball Daily News. Do not forget to check out all the other content that we've got here, and until next time, I will see you all later.